everything they try to do to Donald Trump, in their mind, always has to end in an arrest. No matter what charge they bring against him, it's all about an indictment, an arrest, a perp walk, and the mugshot, right? Now, I was on Chat GPT last night. For those of you who don't know, that is an AI program that everybody can log into, and it will write things for you. It will create. I challenged it. Now, Brandon told me that Chat GPT kicked him off.
Yeah, I've been kicked off a few of those, actually.
You've been kicked off a lot of the AI apps because you're a heathen, you're perverse.
Yeah.
And you write things in there to see how far you can make the artificial intelligence go.
Yeah, we've corrupted it.
You've corrupted it, and they kicked you off.
Yeah.
So last night I put in, I gave it parameters. I said, write a monologue, a comedic monologue about how far left the Democrats have gone in America that demonstrates their insanity, all right? It wouldn't write it. It would not do it. It wouldn't do it. It says, you can't do that. We don't want to favor a political party. We don't want to push an agenda. We don't want to push one side versus the other. And so I tried it again. I said, write a funny comedic monologue about the insanity that's happening in American politics. I just left it at that. It still wouldn't do it. We're not going to make fun of one side or the other. And they would not respond. So finally, I just said, let's talk about some crazy things that are happening in America. This one it wrote why we need to focus more on climate change. How we need to focus more on paying our fair share. All of these left-wing tropes, right? All of these left-wing Democrat talking points. So it would not make fun of a certain political party, but it had no problem. Artificial intelligence had no problem pushing leftist agendas whenever it was trying to make its jokes on how crazy things are in America. It's a nuance, but it's a very important nuance. Because Chris has some pictures. You have them, right? This is what happens in another program when you actually put the parameters in there. It says, show me pictures of Donald Trump being arrested. So now here you see him surrounded by police officers. They're taking him away. Here he is, another one. Now these pictures, they look pretty damn real. So when Chris sent them to me, I was like, okay, just keep flashing through them right there. Here he is, he's, disheveled a little bit. Here he is fighting back. I mean, he's like not putting up with it. There he is making a break for it. Donald Trump, I don't know that he's ever run in his life, but there he is. Here he is coming towards the courthouse after being, apprehended. There's his mugshot. Look at that. See, that was apparently that was acceptable, is for them to create that. All of these AI generated. So we're living in dangerous times. And I say all of this to remind you that we're up against insanity, okay? At this stage, you take, for instance, the progressive left. They're not even pretending anymore that they're not insane. They're not even pretending. They're not even trying to look like they've got it all together. They don't mind the insanity being on display. There's no hiding it. They're not even trying to. They don't have to. Because one, first of all, these crazy folks on the left, and I mean the crazy left, they think their crazy needs to be normalized. If they can create chaos, then they can function in the way that they want to in power. Otherwise, if they weren't accepting insanity, they wouldn't be insisting on chemically castrating or genitally mutilating kids and subjecting them to drag shows and striptease and pornography. And they wouldn't leave the southern border as unguarded as Hillary Clinton's email server, okay? I mean, my God, none of the stuff that they're doing is popular with the general public. And they know it. They know that most people in America that have a little bit of common sense look at this nonsense, like the reparations thing that popped up in California. Everybody in California said, that's not a good idea. And it's been buried, right? I mean, nothing that they're doing is rational. It's not defensible. It's not logical to do anything that they're attempting. In their minds, Like, for instance, they justify nominating semi-comatose zombies as political candidates. Has anybody heard from John Fetterman? Has anybody heard from Fetterman? Dude, he's on life support at best. Fetterman's gone. But they had no problem propping that dude up there, man. I won't even get into Joe Biden. Listen, they're pushing the United States to the brink of nuclear war with Russia when we couldn't even defeat the goat herders of the Afghan Taliban. We couldn't do it. And you want Russia, who's now meeting up with China, to create a new world order? Are you insane? And they think that we're just going to keep pushing us to the brink on that? Listen, the leftist progressives, their policies are so radical that even Barack Obama never even tried those when he controlled both houses of Congress. He didn't even mess with it. And none of these insane asylum antics are harming them politically. They can get away with it. They can do this stuff about Trump and anybody else. They can say anything they want about you and me, and they will never be harmed politically as long as they have both hands firmly wrapped around the throats of the national media, social media, academic institutions, public schools, the courts, the ballot boxes, and most other institutions of any cultural power, including the church. I mean, hell, they got control over the leadership at NASCAR. See, folks, if you go back and study the history of just the 20th century, this is how dictatorships come to life, and ultimately they come to power. They take their insanity and they double down on it in order to normalize it and make it mainstream. They keep pushing the insanity, and rather than stopping and saying, hey, you know what, we were a little crazy on that, our bad. No, they make it even crazier and tell you, hey, that's the way it should be. That's exactly what dictatorships of the past have done to push their power and roll it over the lives of the masses.